Happy Sunday. Wanted to just shout out to y'all, do a really quick video about my blog post today, which are just 5 simple strategies that I use to help me in my weight loss. The first one is the 5 minute workout. Now, what this is a mental game that I play with myself, and it's a strategy that I employ to make sure that I can go and do a workout. And there's a lot of days where I just don't want to work out. I can be sore, lazy, whatever it is. There's a lot of them. That doesn't matter. But what I do on those days is I tell myself I'm going to go to the gym, and all I need to do today is a 5 minute workout. And so ultimately, the bar set so low that it makes it very easy for me to just show up. When I show up, I get on a machine, I work for 5 minutes, and most of the time, it's enough that the movement's happening with my body, that I've warmed up, that it's enough that I'm like, screw it, I'm here, let's do it, let's do a workout. There are other days where I'm feeling especially lazy, where I will just do 10 minutes, and maybe even sometimes 15. And on those days, if at the end of that time period, I still don't want to work out, well, fine, go home. There's probably something else wrong with you. And it's fine because you showed up. Now, subsequent days, I'll still show up and keep doing it. And eventually, I promise you, that tenacity of showing up for those 5 minute workouts, you'll get in awesome workouts. And the best part about this is that even though you know it's a trick, consciously know that you're playing with your mind, it still works because it's such a low bar. 5 minutes, just show up, do 5 minutes. The next thing that I do is I've got workout specific shoes, and I make sure that those shoes are only for my workouts. And what that does is it creates a connection between this inanimate object that I put on my feet with the act of going to work out. And so when I put them on, I almost feel an extra level of energy because there's a sense of certainty that I'm going to go do this thing, right? And in the beginning, it's tougher because if they're new and you haven't done it before, it's going to be a new thing. So you just have to keep pushing. The key thing is when you identify those shoes that are like, okay, these are my workout shoes, is that you put them on and you go straight to work, right? So if you put them on and you go screw around, get coffee, or go shopping, whatever, that defeats the point. Those shoes need to be very specific. You put them on, you go in the gym, and you start working. And eventually, your brain will make that connection where those shoes will help stimulate the neurons in your brain that it's time to go to work. Next thing is how I break down the workload. And, this is something right now I'm doing a lot of high volume weightlifting. And so if I'm doing something like a 10 by 10 where it's 10 sets of 10 reps, I'll actually break that down 2 ways. And the first way I break it down is within each set, I will do 6 to 8 reps that I think of. I'm going to do those sort of continuously, one after the other. And then when I get to either the 6th or the 8th rep, I'll break the remaining reps into sets of 1 where there's a brief 1 to 2 second pause between the sets of 1 until I get to 10. And it just allows me to break the workload down into these manageable chunks, but allows me to continue to push forward. Now, when it comes to the sets, I look at it a little bit differently, and what I think to myself is the first 5 sets that I do, I think of I'm going uphill. So set 1, set 2, set 3, 4, and 5. And on the 5th set, I'm at the top of the hill. Well, the 6th set is I think of a plateau at the top. So maintain where I am, 1 more. Then starting with the 7th, I'm coming downhill, right? 9 and 10, right? And what that allows me to do internally is thinking that I'm running downhill. And yeah, the work is typically harder in those later sets. However, if I'm telling myself I'm going downhill, I don't feel like it's the end of the world, right? So I'm pushing myself to come up and sort of mirror what my thought is of going downhill. And yeah, there are times when they're really hard, but I know the end is around the corner, which then allows me again to push myself to that end without giving up. The 4th strategy is what I call never again, right? And never again is a very simple concept that wherever you are in a workout, on a particular day, and maybe even so in life, you will never be there again under those same conditions. Never, right? Because how often in your life have you ever had the exact same day under the exact same conditions at the exact same time, right? It doesn't happen, right? There's too many possibilities and too many different things that will alter how you feel and how you function. So when I'm working out, whatever I'm doing in each moment, what I'm thinking to myself is, here's where I am. I will never be here again. And I want to make sure I give it everything that I have. And that's how I push myself beyond each threshold, by really going and pushing and saying, look, I'm never going to be here again. And I want to make sure that I never regret giving up in the minute. So I'm going to push myself as hard as I can. It's very simple. Never again. You'll never, ever be in that moment of your life ever again. So don't disappoint yourself. Push yourself harder than you've pushed yourself before. And sometimes from a performance standpoint, it will not be the same or even up to your standards. However, if that's the best that you had in that moment, well, that's good enough, because the effort is the more important part of it. Finally, it's a very simple strategy for going out to eat. Look, you can't control the ingredients in the food for the most part, and you can't control the actual serving size of what you get. First off, you got to make good choices, right? Don't pick a pizza when there's a salad and a nice protein, right? But what you can control is the portion of what you eat. You can't control the serving, so they'll bring you the plate, but you can control the portion of how much of that plate you eat. And what I do, because I want to make sure I'm on the safe side of things, is I will typically take about 25% to like 30% of the plate and just not eat it, right? Because then I know I'm playing at the safe side, that they could have thrown some mystery sauce or something in there that would throw it off in terms of the carb, sugar, or any of that stuff. I know I'm eating that much less of it, and it puts me in a good place. And this is really, some tough love at this point. Is like, look, if you don't have the discipline to do that, don't fucking go out to eat if your goal is to lose weight. Just don't. Just don't do it until you have the discipline to be able to say, I'm going to eat 1/4 less of whatever this is. So, other than that, I'm really close to breaking a big threshold of breaking 300 pounds. So I'll be in the high 290s probably in the next week or so. Again, I appreciate all of the support that's come through, and all the encouragement. It's been amazing, and I want to thank you all for that. And ultimately, don't ever forget, stay salty as fuck, my friends.